Hello, my name is Olabode Akinto, and I'm a child and adolescent psychiatrist at McMaster Children's Hospital. Talking about suicide can be overwhelming, or at least uncomfortable for most people. If you're a parent or caregiver, this video is going to focus on essential questions you can ask your child or young person to help them manage their safety and support them if they're thinking of suicide. Please feel free to pause this video at any time or watch it again if you need to. And definitely reach out to a doctor or other mental health professional if this discussion is particularly troubling for you or if it's difficult for you. We see suicidal thoughts and actions as being different. Suicidal thoughts are actually more common than many people think. When a young person admits to having suicidal thoughts, or if you suspect that they do, you may say something like, "I know you've been struggling. When life becomes too stressful or just isn't what we need it to be, people can wish they just weren't here anymore, and they can think about death. They just want their struggles to be over." Have you ever had thoughts like that? Also, if your young person is thinking of suicide, it's important to know whether their thoughts are passive. "I wish I weren't here anymore. What would life be like without me?" Or active. "I am going to kill myself." To know this, it's best to ask them directly by saying something like, "Are your thoughts like, I just don't want to be here anymore?" Or are they more specific like, "I want to kill myself," or "I'm going to kill myself"? It's important to be as clear as possible because your next action could be different depending on the response you receive, and you do not want to make any assumptions. As professionals, we take all thoughts of suicide seriously. However, active suicidal thoughts do increase the risk of someone taking action. And after learning that your young person is thinking of suicide, it's important to ask them the question of whether they intend to act on their thoughts. Consider asking, have you ever thought about acting on your thoughts? Many people who think about suicide have no intention of acting on their thoughts. And knowing more about that young person's thoughts and why they are not acting on them actually helps us better understand their reasons for living and can allow us to strengthen their commitment to life. If your young person says that they do intend or want to act on their thoughts, this is more serious and you should consider taking them immediately to a mental health professional or the nearest emergency room. The most important thing to know about someone's risk of dying by suicide is that risk is always changing. It's possible that a person will be committed to life 1 hour and in complete despair the next. So conversations about suicide have to be ongoing, especially if you know that your child has struggled in this way. Talking about suicide does not give people ideas. Instead, it allows for open conversations. So far, so good. You're doing great. Take a few deep breaths. These conversations are difficult and require bravery, but they are essential. Regardless of whether your young person currently has thoughts or intentions of ending their life, we encourage you to ask whether they have ever attempted to end their life before. Again, it's best to be calm and specific when asking this. You might say, "Have you ever tried yourself to kill yourself or prepared to? Tell me about that. You're not in trouble. I really want to help and I'm grateful that you're telling me." This is definitely something that professionals need to know, as it does place a person at a greater risk of suicide and may speak to how they may try to harm themselves in the future. It's always concerning when people have attempted to end their life and have never told anyone. Please know that people thinking of suicide do not need to have a plan for how they will end their life. In fact, most children and youth do not have a plan and act spontaneously. But we still ask if they have a plan because knowing this may help create a safer environment, removing potential items that they may have planned with. Sometimes young people have plans that adults know will not result in death or even serious injury. And when assessing suicide risk, it matters more what the person thinks will happen. The intent of that person is more important instead of the likelihood of suicidality by that means. If your young person is doing something that they think will end their life, this is serious and requires professional attention. Some caregivers having this conversation may learn that their child has a plan and has started acting on it. Perhaps saying goodbye to friends, gathering supplies, or selecting a location. If this is the case for your young person, proceed to the nearest emergency room or call 911. Many parents wonder about the relationship between suicide and self-harm. I would refer you to our How to Talk with Youth About Suicide video for more information. Now, you may be wondering how to go about having this conversation with your child. The truth is, it's important to be direct, calm, and compassionate. Now, that's a tall order for a topic that many people feel intimidated by, and some simply just don't understand. For some, it's fear. But by being direct, calm, and compassionate, you'll assure your child that you will do the best that you can to handle what they have to tell you and show that you are taking their struggles seriously. Many parents have found it helpful to first practice saying the words suicide, self-harm, and any other thing that may be emotional or difficult to say. There's no shame in practicing this conversation with yourself in the mirror, a co-parent, or close friend. Always remember that there's no perfect way. It's far better to ask than to wait for the perfect moment, because this ongoing conversation could honestly save your child's life. In fact, simply knowing you care enough to have this conversation can lower their distress and increase their commitments to life. In the description below, you'll find a summary of suggested questions you can ask your child about suicide. Know that you're not alone. These questions will help you keep your young person safe and ensure that you are aware of when to involve a mental health professional. If you're ever unsure, it's best to reach out for professional help. Once again, I would encourage you to discuss these and any other suicide-related questions with your child's mental health clinician or other mental health professional. Thank you.